I'm not going to lick a pamper. It's not fun.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and recovering co-host.
Girl,
Yeah.
I swear to God.
Eventful week for one Miss Ramona Ramirez Higgins.
Man, let me tell you. So, yeah, we were supposed to record on Monday of this week. So tomorrow is July 4th. So obviously today is July 3rd. So we were supposed to discuss episode 3 of the Real Housewives of Miami. We were going to do that on Monday. Yes, releasing it a few days late, but we were going to do it. Yeah, I couldn't because I was infirmed, so to speak, when I was in Palm Springs for my annual girls trip weekend. TLDR, I was in the ER late Saturday night, early Sunday morning with fucking gallstones, dude. I had a gallstone attack. And
not the least painful way to spend an evening.
Honestly, I was writhing in pain. I think I was in worse pain than when I was in labor. I was in labor with that child, trying to have that baby for 36 hours without an epidural or anything like that. And when I tell you I was writhing in pain on Saturday night / Sunday morning, all of my friends were asleep. And I thought, oh God, this has to be like the worst case of gas I've ever had. Like, I've never had gas that's bad and like giving you gas pains. Wow, we're really going there right now.
No, I'm sorry I giggled. I'm 6
in.
years old and you said gas and I just went tee-hee because I'm a child.
But I mean,
Continue.
Who the hell wants to talk about gas? But like, I see the commercials for gas medicines. I understand that they can cause a lot of pain and bloating. And I thought, holy shit, is this what they're talking about? Damn. So I was in so much pain that I eventually woke up my friend Sarah, because she always travels with just a huge bag of medicine. Like anything you need, she can throw it at you. Whereas I'm the Zofran dealer of the bunch. Sarah's got like everything else. And then my friend Liz has these fantastic ibuprofen tablets that she buys in bulk when she's in Europe. Ibuprofen, but for some reason the European ibuprofen is just better. My point is, the people pleaser, adult child and alcoholic that I am, I did not want to wake my friend up in the middle of the fucking night. Who the hell wants to do that? But I was desperate. My friend Sarah correctly suspected, this sounds like your gallbladder. She tried to she gave me a warm compress and I took some Gaviscon gas medicine and all of these things. And I was trying to do child's pose on a yoga mat, all this crap. And she's like, dude, this has got to be your gallbladder. Let's go to the ER. So I put on the most unhinged outfit of all time, my Cantor's t-shirt, some sweatpants that have chain links on it, and some flip-flops. And my KCRW hat. I just looked fucking insane. So we go to the ER. They're like, what's your pain scale? I'm on 9 out of 10. And I have a high pain threshold. Okay, first of all, the ER doctor, in quotations, that I saw looked like he barely had his driver's license. Before I get the ultrasound that they order, he's asking me, to list the medications I'm on. And I'm listing them and I'm listing them. And at one point he goes, well, because the list was long. And if I hadn't been in, 9 out of 10 on the pain scale pain, I would have taken this young person to task so hard. P.S. I plan on doing it in the postscript. I get the ultrasound. Yes, it's gallstones. They give me morphine through an IV, and 4 hours later, we're out the door. So the pain subsides. The way you treat gallstones is you have to just eat really, really benign food, like nothing fried. So I'm like, okay, cool. So it's basically like you do the brat diet with a little yogurt thrown in here or there. Probably a scrambled egg is fine. I ate so much fucking chicken breast with no skin and no bone. My point is that the pain, it didn't feel like, it felt like it was gone, but there was still some other pain. I didn't know what the hell that was about. It just felt like I had lower back cramps, like when you get your period. So I wasn't really paying attention to it because I knew it wasn't in the area of your body where gallstones here, where your gallbladder is, which is right underneath, like where the wire of your bra is to your back, like right under your shoulder. So that, like, it's up there, it's high, like up in your ribs almost. So the pain I had after the fact just felt like lower back cramps, like a dull ache in my lower quadrant on the right-hand side. That's key. So I ended up like cutting my trip short. I should be in San Diego right now. You and I should be recording right now at Josh's friend's house in Del Mar, but I'm not. I flew home yesterday because I was sick of being in a hotel room bed, living out of a fucking suitcase while I'm trying to get over this thing. So I flew home early. And I knew I needed to call my doctor today to try and get something sorted out with these gallstones. Like, do I get my gallbladder out? Like, what do I do? So I'm looking through my after visit summary to see if there's any information that I can give her when I email her or call her. I read the notes in detail, and it says, incidental note, 7 millimeter fucking kidney stone found while we're doing this ultrasound. And I'm like, well, motherfuck. That explains the lower back pain. So I am pissed off at this child physician, in quotations, for judging the shit out of my long list of things that I take. You know what? He can fucking talk to me when he's a 50-something-year-old woman with a history of life and things that, I take prescription medicine for. A commentary is not welcome, okay? Doogie, and I mean that as a put down. And to let me go and not say, oh, P.S., BT dubs, you also have a fucking 7 millimeter kidney stone? Like, it's considered large and like, okay, Whoopi Goldberg in the fucking telephone booth .gif, you in danger, girl, So I'm home with gallstones and a kidney stone that may or may not pass, I don't know when. So that's why I called in sick on Monday. And I love this podcast more than anything, but I was just not feeling well. And I am still not feeling 100%, but I have painkillers, European ibuprofen, thank you very much, Vicodin if I really, really need it. And I'm drinking a metric ton of water, like it's disgusting. And so my instructions are to look at my pee to see if the stone has passed. It'll look like a little rock.
Oh my God.
And if I feel like it passing, then I have a prescription upstairs that will widen whatever pathway it needs to come out of so that it won't be as excruciating as it potentially could be. So like any little twinge in my body right now, I'm like, oh shit, here it comes. But, either one, it's just Stonapalooza up in here. Stonapalooza up in my torso. The indignities of middle age. And gallstones, gallbladder issues start like a gallbladderectomy, whatever the hell the technical term is called. It is the most common surgery in the United States of America, apparently.
You don't need it, right? That thing doesn't do much.
Well,
so
no,
get
it
on
does. It does something with bile. The appendix for sure you don't need. I don't know if you need your gallbladder. I don't even know if I'll need to have my gallbladder removed because it wasn't infected. It's just that I have gallstones. So the next step is I'm going to see a surgeon and see what they say. The kidney stone is the fucking wild card in this motherfucker right now. That sounds terrible. That sounds hellish. So the doctor told me if I see certain things, then it's a fucking straight shot to the ER. Fever, ER. Vomiting, ER. If I have terrible pain and the Vicodin doesn't kill it, ER. So, we're working it out. We're working it out, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
But that's why we didn't record earlier this week.
Yeah, man. The stones, they needed your attention.
Full on stones. I got stoned.
Yeah. Yes.
So in this episode of A Therapeutic Dose, we're going to talk about last week's episode, which was season 7, episode 3, and then last night's episode, which was season 7, episode 4.
But
And
fortunately, the week prior it was all just kind of a prelude leading up to this episode, you know?
yeah,
So we, for one to miss, we sort of missed the primer episode that just got everything lined up for
God,
got all the
yes,
pins lined up for the bowling ball to hit the lane this
man.
week.
Yeah, I agonized over the decision to not do it. It's crazy. It's just I love doing this. It's my favorite thing, doing this podcast, doing it with you. For me to call in sick was not it just oh my God, no one needs me to freaking qualify why. It's fine. I was stoned. I was
Listen,
gallstoned and kidney stoned.
yes, and out of town and just sort of a
Yeah,
perfect stone storm.
dude.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
10 out of 10 do not recommend getting a gallstone attack or kidney stones while you're not in the comfort of your own home.
Or
Living out of a
I mean, they're
suitcase.
terrible everywhere
Yeah,
though.
terrible anywhere. Terrible
There's
anywhere.
just,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
And
dude.
painful. I've only
My
been
God.
close by. I've sat with people who've had them, and my God, it looks like just a lot of extreme, relentless pain.
Yeah, it's not fun. Wouldn't wish
No,
it.
no,
Wouldn't
that's not
wish it
what you
on
went away
people
for a
that I
girls'
love.
weekend to get.
No,
So
it wasn't. It wasn't.
probably
And
more visions of like floating in a pool,
oh, big
sipping a
time.
drink
Big
instead of
time.
like
Yeah,
having
yeah.
ultrasounds and
I
being
mean,
on morphine.
so wild, dude. So wild. Morphine IV. What?
Did it work
Anyway.
though? I mean,
Oh, fuck
that's
yeah. It did.
thank
It
God.
did, but not like 100%. Once the pharmacy opened, because again, we left the ER at like 6:30 in the morning. So I couldn't get that Vicodin filled until like 10. And as soon as my friends brought it home to me, I took one to like try and stay on top of the pain versus chase it, because that is a futile effort. That seemed to really help, but it was not fun. It was not fun. Thought for sure it was
Yeah.
going to be the appendix coming out, and I was going to have a story to share with my kid because he had his taken out. Who cares? I don't need to talk about this anymore.
Everyone cares. Nobody, yeah,
No.
that kind of pain literally don't wish on anybody. Like that's not even a worst enemy kind of pain. It's so agonizing and awful. Oh, look, I forget who I'm talking
You
to.
forget who you're talking to.
Even in
Oh,
the
it's worst enemy kind of
immediate.
pain. It's I'm okay with worst enemy. That I don't know if you noticed, Margie. That's what I said. I wouldn't wish this on anybody that I love.
Oh, I didn't notice, but I
Yeah,
should have paid
that's what I
closer
said.
attention to
I was
that
specific.
very carefully chosen
I
language.
chose my
Yes.
words carefully, and that's why I said I wouldn't wish this on anyone I love or care about.
Yeah.
Or am acquaintances with, fond acquaintances with, friendly, the baristas at my local Pete's. No. Some people have at it. Have at it. Miles from an ER. Miles. Oceans from an ER. Okay, now I can STF you. Now I can calm it down.
I'm just so
Sorry.
glad that you
I'm done.
are like home and recovering and, for all intents and purposes on a path to well-being.
Thank you, friend. I appreciate
with
that.
support from various drugs and a plan of action if those don't work. So that
Dude,
makes me
yeah.
feel comforted, as your friend,
Yeah.
that there's a system in place.
Yes. Back to normal enough to be an extreme hater. So
That's sort of the bar. That's the bar for showing
That's
up
my bar,
for
yes.
the podcast. It's like, can I appropriately get my hate on? Yes.
yes, I can.
All right. So you're home from Palm Springs, and now
Yes.
let's take ourselves to Miami.
Let's take
shall
ourselves to
we?
Miami. And just FYI, this might be a more abbreviated, different kind of format than we normally do, because I don't know how much comfort I have in me to sit on this, steel stool and not be chugging jugs and jugs of water per my doctor's advice. But we'll see what happens. It'll all shake out exactly how it should.
We'll give it a start, and then
Yeah.
whenever you need to dip out, as Tom Sandoval would say,
Dip out.
you go on
Yes.
ahead and dip out. So just a little recap of episode 3, which was last week's episode. The broad strokes are Marisol did get married to Steve. They had this little cute, happy courthouse wedding. And I really liked hearing their story that they've been together since 2020. And the reason they wanted to make it legal is because Marisol says something to the effect of like, we're on the other side of the hill, basically, and we want to be able to be legally connected so we can look after each other and make medical decisions and all the things that like a marriage certificate affords a partnership. And so it was like, it was equally romantic and practical, which made it weirdly more romantic to me. I thought it was real sweet.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the fact that people have to be married in order to be able to do that for each other. There's, like marriage doesn't have to be a requirement for everybody, That doesn't make those partnerships any less valid, binding, serious, committed, lifelong as like a marriage certificate makes it in the eyes of a hospital or a fucking legal, like a financial institution or whatever. Like, it makes me mad. It makes me mad. But I understand where Marisol's coming from. I get that. I just wanted to put my little editorial on that,
That's fair.
So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do learn that Lisa's dad did pass away, and she's off in Canada for his memorial in that episode. And then we get this adorable extended trip to the Museum of Ice Cream with Kiki and her daughter, who is my new child favorite on this show. Her daughter Summer is so cute. At the Museum of Ice Cream, she just wanted chocolate, and they have like 10,000 rooms where they offered her every possible other option. And she was just fully fixated on like chocolate. I want chocolate. It was so cute. And in this visit, Kiki's brought her mom with her. And her mom, apparently with the rest of Kiki's family, is encouraging her to have a relationship with her father, who was a turd to her, kicked her out of the house when Kiki was just 15 years old. And he kicked her out because she was a successful model, which in his eyes made her a whore. So he kicked her out of the house, and Kiki reports that she saw him mistreat, likely abuse her mother. And so she has complicated feelings about being back in touch with her dad. And that's sort of the dramatic element of the trip to the Museum of Ice Cream. Is a lovely balance of family drama and adorable daughter seeking a chocolate ice cream.
I mean, the generational trauma, man. Like Kiki's mom saying, my dad was strong and cruel, and your dad was strong and cruel, but he's always going to be your father. And unfucking subscribe. Unsubscribe. I don't give a shit what DNA you share with somebody. Strong and cruel, go ahead and cut that motherfucker out. Go ahead.
I'm just not a believer in the he's your father, so
Agreed.
He's entitled to some kind of anything. It's that my favorite line from Parenthood, which I've probably relayed a million times here before, when Keanu Reeves says, you need a license to catch a fish. Hell, you need a license to own a dog, but they'll let any asshole be a father. And I'm like, oh my God. It's so true. Like, they're not entitled. If they're terrible to you, like, it's okay to take space to figure out how or if you want to have a relationship with them. And all of these, like, old school, in my family as well, it tends to be the women, the old school women who are like, well, he's your father, and it's like, you only get one. And it's like, well, that one did the best he could. And I really mean that now at this age. I really do. I called my dad on Father's Day. We had a lovely conversation, and I'm so grateful. But it took 20 years for me to like go to therapy, try talking to my dad, realizing that that's never going to get us anywhere, cutting all contact, then re-entering once I was healed enough to let him be just who he is and not need him to be any different. And like, it just takes time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways.
Jeez.
Then it's Alexia who plans this surprise wedding celebration for Marisol and Steve. And at Marisol's party, Larsa is gossiping with the girls about Jody's aggressive behavior in Milan. Larsa has big feelings about Jody, implying that he was high on cocaine, likely true, and reporting that he yelled at both Larsa and Lisa, that he was like pretty aggressive with both of them. And then, I'd forgotten we see Julia at this party acting like weird and loud and like too much, like yelling congratulations to the bride and groom, pushing them together to kiss and saying like, oh my God, I love watching you kiss. And I'd forgotten that she's a bad drunk. Like I suddenly flashed back on all of those prior seasons when wasn't it her who got like alcohol poisoning somewhere on like they went on a vacation somewhere and she did like vodka shots with cucumber and then was like in a bathroom and they had to call like a medic to treat
Oh
her.
my God, I don't remember. I wish I remembered this.
Anyways, she's not a great drunk and that was brought to light in this moment. And then we get into what was relevant in that episode, which is Kiki calls Julia over to the table saying that Guerdy and Julia should talk. There's still tension between the two of them related to Julia's birth, adoption announcement and Guerdy's apparent behavior on this cruise. And I mean, I don't know if we need to get into the weeds, but they have like a pretty gnarly back and forth. Guerdy gets up to try to get away from her. Julia follows her, puts her finger in her face, tells her to stop spitting on me. It's like really, it seemed extra unfriendly. It seemed like there was like, it was mean with an added kind of demeaning, dehumanizing quality that I didn't much care for, but I can't tell if I'm being sensitive to that or if that's real. I don't know.
That dehumanizing quality that you're referring to is called racism.
Yeah,
FYI.
I was
That's
skirting
what that's
it because
called.
I didn't want to say it because I obviously have not been on the receiving end of racism, so I don't want to say like I recognize that because I definitely don't. But something felt extra shitty and awful.
Safe to say that you recognize racism. I think that you can say that.
It looked like it. And
Yeah.
in the following episode, when Russell says, the image in my head of that big woman standing over you, and he got it right. Because that's what it looked like. Guerdy was backing away and Julia was coming at her from up and over with her finger waving it in her face. Like the fact that Guerdy didn't swat that hand away or like her restraint was exceptional. And I think how Julia behaved was unforgivable. I'll be curious to see how this plays out because ick. They start hashing things out at the table. Guerdy explains what happened on the cruise, and it sounds manipulative and terrible that Julia called Guerdy in a panic saying, Martina's having a health emergency and I need someone to come on this cruise. And Guerdy had just returned from a cruise with Russell and was unpacking and was like, what happened? And Julia wouldn't tell Guerdy how Martina was suffering or with what. And so Guerdy, of course, as a good friend, was like, okay, I'll just be there. And she was there. And Julia called her a liar and threw water in her face. And it wasn't a mistake because she double pumped that glass, right? To make sure all the water got out and in Guerdy's face. And it was
fucking meditated.
hideous.
I mean,
hideous.
Disgusting.
And Kiki just leaves. Kiki up and left the whole party. And then the rest of the party like tries to go on, but everyone is horrified because it was horrifying. It was really embarrassing.
Yeah. She should be humiliated and ashamed, and yet
Not
we
at
don't
all.
really see it. We don't see it. We don't see it, but she sure did write that stupid ass Instagram post that I read last time we recorded where she's like, my loves, you've seen a side of me, blah, 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 blah. Bitch, you're disgusting. You're fucked. Sorry, I'm not eloquent.
No, and
I'm also not medicated on ADHD meds right now, so that's about as good as I can do as you're fucked.
Look, and she's right. We have seen a side of her, and this is a side of her, and nice job concealing it up until now. And now we see it, and it's gross. It's purely gross.
The mask is off.
Yeah. And now it frames everything now. Like that's who she is and I can't unsee it. And so the next episode opens with her at a voice lesson, which I was like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Singing terribly. And her patient voice teacher asks her how she's doing and she starts crying. And then we see what might be going on in her head, flashbacks of the night before at Marisol's party. And then she defends her behavior to this stranger. And she is a liar because the way she presents this, she says, Guerdy came for my opera singing. That's not what happened. Guerdy said when Julia was getting amped up and dramatic, Guerdy said, this is not an opera show. And Julia characterizes that as Guerdy came for my opera singing, and then water got spilled all over the place. Oh, did it? It got spilled? Was there a way that was facilitated, ma'am? You didn't have anything to do with that?
Yeah, she loves to rewrite history. I said this the last time I recorded. She is a rewriter of history, and it's always in her favor.
But that's like embarrassing. Water got
Oh.
spilled. I don't know what happened. Yes, you do.
Yeah,
you
dude, it's on
turned toward
film.
her, you squared off, and you double pumped the water glass to make sure it emptied onto her. And congratulations, you shut her up. You got what you wanted. You're gross. Yuck.
Disgusting, repugnant.
And she says, I had to stop the lies, she was saying. It's like, there's other ways. One of them is walking away. You know how you can stop listening to someone lie? You can go away from it. Ugh, I hate her.
Yeah. My compassion bucket is fairly... My compassion bucket for Julia, there's like dregs and dust at the bottom. I'm not really sure that there's anything down there that isn't mosquito larvae, larva.
When last we recorded, I was really trying to access it, for all the pain and loss that she's experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And she erased it. She erased it in episode 3 and blew away the eraser dust in episode 4. It's gone. I'm done. And we see a quick flash to Guerdy having dinner with Adriana, and Guerdy just says, I will never forget what she did. And Adriana says she kind of went to the dark side. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's on camera for eternity.
It's on camera.
So
yep.
may we never forget.
Oh, no. I won't forget.
Mm-mm. She is gross.
Oh.
Then
Yeah.
we get the opening credits and taglines. And I don't know, did this happen on your TV or was it just mine? The audio for the taglines was like atrocious. It sounded like, and because you're the sound queen of the two of us, they sounded like they were recording from like inside a tin toilet. I was like, what happened, you guys?
God, I didn't notice, but I'm also like, I'm not on my full ass game this week.
Fair.
So I don't know. That's
Fair.
a good question. I'll pay attention to that next time.
And in those opening credits, we got our first glimpse of Stephanie, who we finally get to meet in this episode. And I think she's a great housewife. Maybe not a great housewife. Person, but a great casting call.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, a fucking PJ to Orlando.
With caviar, like a 20-minute private jet ride with caviar to pick up your dog.
Yeah, my God, the poor fucking ozone, dude. The poor planet. And I'm going to go pick up my dog in a private jet. Pew, pew. Like, are you fucking kidding me? But yeah, she's a housewife. I just don't like that. Be an asshole, but don't be I don't know. Never mind. You know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, she's kind of she's cut from asshole cloth, I think. You don't
I have a feeling.
marry a 50-something-year-old that you meet at a Heat game. And then say like, I would be where I was without him. I mean, I got a little help, but I'd be here without him. I'm like, okay, dude. It's hard to say. Maybe, but you were 26 when you met him and you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
And look, live your life, do your thing, but just like, don't do that.
I do believe there are some like 25, 26-year-old women that are with men that are half their age or more than half their age.
Twice
double their age.
age.
Twice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus Christ. Twice their age. And God, it's like I want to not be skeptical and yet I'm skeptical. But I don't know.
Look,
I don't know.
I think it's part of the attraction is the stability and the success. And like, that's totally reasonable. But to discount it and pretend that didn't factor in, where it's like, we just purely fell in love. No, you didn't. If this had been Love is Blind and you couldn't see his clothes, bank account, his name on the building since the 80s, I'm not sure that you guys would have had such a soul connection. It was undeniable. But she said since she was little, she's wanted to be rich.
Yeah.
And good girl, you identified what you wanted and you got it.
She did. She did.
Why not?
Just like Erica Jane and Tom Girardi. We'll never know. We'll never know.
It comes with its own set of pitfalls. But look, I love people who know what they want and go and get it. At least there's clarity and no secrets. It's just, I'll take it.
Yes, yes.
Then we're with Guerdy. I love her. She's decorating her house for Halloween, and her son Liam like loves Halloween. And Russell, her husband, had told her to slow things down, but she's looking for a return to some normalcy in her life. And she said, decorating brings me back to a normal that I know. And her two sons enter, and Liam, her Halloween-loving son, loves it. And Miles, her other son, couldn't give a shit and looked irritated that there were cameras and all this crap in his living room. He's adorable.
I mean, man, Guerdy's good.
She's awesome.
And silk screening decorations. And I'm not, I really need to be able to get it up for Halloween more. I have a kid. He loves Halloween. I find the colors ridiculous. Orange and black together, like blah. I don't know. It doesn't matter. No one's here to talk about this. Margie.
No, we are, but she said the theme is Panic at the Disco, so she skirted orange and she put disco balls in skulls, you know?
Oh my God,
so she
I love
was
a
able to
loophole
make
like that.
Yeah.
Yes,
She
I
made
love
it
a design
classy.
loophole.
Mhm.
Guerdy. Love it.
And then Guerdy and Russell sit down to talk. They have this very serious conversation. And I appreciated it. Started in a wide shot with like all of the Halloween decorations visible. And then as it got more serious, they, tightened in on just Guerdy and Russell because it was distracting to see all these like dancing skeletons in the background as she's like sobbing about this hideous interaction with Julia. And yeah, basically they start discussing Julia humiliating Guerdy for the entertainment of the other women at Marisol's party, and Russell is disgusted by what he's picturing in his mind, the big, tall woman aggressing his wife.
I love Russell.
He's
I do.
everything. He's great.
I've noticed that, I don't know if this is completely like irrelevant, but also just something I observe with Russell especially is, his wife has an accent. When she speaks English, she sounds a certain way. And Russell has like, do you hear like hints of it in the way he talks, hints of her accent?
I don't know. Maybe like her cadence, I guess, maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I'll tune in
There's
more
something
now.
about like the rhythm, the pace, the something, and like just the way he says like certain words that I wonder if he's taken from how probably purely self-consciously, like my white uncle sounds a little bit like my grandmother, my Mexican grandma. May she
It's
rest
like
in
when
peace.
Madonna lived in London
Yes,
or in the early
But, like,
90s, and
it's
she came
just
back
like-
with a full British accent.
And there's
for a minute.
there's one Lakers announcer who sounds like just a tad bit like he could be Mexican American, who like grew up speaking Spanish, Mexican American, but he's not. And I think it's just like a reflection of the people that he's around the majority of the time and kind of like takes on that affectation. And I find it fascinating and I love it. I think it's charming. I think it's one of the charming things about Russell. I love Russell. Again, please, God, let me have Russell. Just let Russell not be disappointing somewhere. And again, I need to get a grip. I'm watching people on TV. Get a grip, Ramona, get a grip.
I mean, they tried to give him some music, like musical stings when he said the words big, tall woman. But I think he was really just trying to articulate the picture he was seeing in his head. I don't think he meant it in any way as a slam on Julia. It's just like she can use her height to intimidate, and she did. So he gets it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get Julia and Martina at some grocery specialty food store. And the scene starts with Julia seeming to know that she should take accountability for being a dick to Guerdy, saying, I had no right to make anybody wet. And then there was another music sting and Martina like raised her eyebrows, but but she takes no accountability. She said she basically, it again becomes completely self-serving. She goes, I feel embarrassed in front of Marisol for allowing Guerdy to get the best of me. So now this is Guerdy's fault. Her outrageous behavior is Guerdy's fault. Okay.
And I want to reiterate the fact that explanation that she gave that I read a couple of weeks ago, the explanation she gave on Instagram, she takes no responsibility. She never says, I'm sorry, I was wrong, full stop. Guerdy deserves better, full stop. She rationalizes fucking everything. And I have only this much patience for someone who's a victim. And I have even less patience for someone who's a victim and is destructive to other people and doesn't say sorry, just full stop sorry, without the qualifications. Julia's bad person.
Yeah, and
She's not a good
Martina's like
person.
an enabler. Like, I'm not sure if
my
Martina
God.
has an opinion, doesn't give a shit, or shares actually the opposite opinion and just doesn't say anything. But those are all bad options. Like, help your wife see the nature of her wrongs so that she doesn't, but I don't think Martina, I don't know what.
Water seeks its own level, and she is a terrible piece of shit as well.
Yeah, I guess
in
so, man.
IMHO. I'm sorry that she is dealing with a terrible disease. I think she's I think that they deserve each other. I think they deserve each other.
They do seem like a good match. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
We get this little flashback scene to Marisol, Alexia, and Julia having some sort of little afternoon gathering. And Julia apologizes to Marisol for making a scene at the party. And Marisol kind of isn't having it. And she says that throwing the water crossed a line. It was too much. And Julia looks sufficiently shamed, but then again turns it on Guerdy and said, Guerdy tried to wage a war with our family. And basically it comes down to Julia's mad at Guerdy for exposing the truth that Julia went to Paris to get a facelift while Martina was getting radiation treatment for her cancers, plural. And her face looks amazing, I must say. She got excellent work done. No shame in that, but shame on all of the rest of this. And Martina seemed fine with it. She's like, I don't care that you were there. So why couldn't Julia just say like, look, my wife and I spoke about that and I wanted to get snatched and she was fine with it. And so I did. Like, why make this like, why come for Guerdy for something that you're a housewife? Of course you got a facelift. Come on. I don't know.
Right?
Villainizing Guerdy just seems like a weird move.
I wonder if it's because she's judging herself. Because
Clearly, yeah.
I would feel terrible telling people, Josh is getting radiation, but I had my facelift scheduled with Kristen Wiig's plastic surgeon, and I didn't want to miss that. And he told me that I should go. Like, I would feel mortified saying that out loud.
I would. The person I marry will know that my priority is a facelift. And they will be thrilled whenever that date comes. They'll be like, babe, you have to do that always first.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I can.
And if you're embarrassed about getting a facelift, like, not to be rude, but we can tell you look
no.
great.
I don't mean about getting the facelift. I mean, she was embarrassed to get a facelift while her wife was getting radiation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, yeah, be more secure in your choices. Like, that's who you are. That's the choice you made. And the woman you married is someone who I believe was probably like, I can handle radiation. And I don't know. I would have a harder time. But I love plastic surgery so much that I would also be like, I can understand why this is a conversation. I don't know.
I hear you.
Bottom line, none of it is Guerdy's fault.
Fuck no.
Martina's radiation schedule and Julia's facelift appointment have nothing to do with Guerdy. And if you're ashamed of how you live your life, live a different life.
Right?
Good God.
Agreed.
And then Julia reads to Marisol and Alexia this apology text that she sent to Guerdy, which was thoughtful. But then she immediately, like, she gives Guerdy no time to sit with it. And she's like, well, I never heard back with her. And so now it's Guerdy's fault. She provoked me. And so none of it was sincere. And Guerdy was right not to respond because it clearly was not coming from any kind of genuine place of wanting to reconcile. Or more importantly, take responsibility for being a see you next Tuesday, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Full on. Full on.
And then we get the moment that broke my whole heart with Guerdy sobbing to the point where like she can barely talk because this, she says Julia violated me in front of the girls for their entertainment. And in her confessional, she continues by saying it was a physical, symbolic act to degrade me to a level as if I was nothing. And I've never felt that way before. And like you don't come back from that, Julia. I hope it was worth it. And I hope you digging in to being an absolute bitch on the other side of it feels great. Like, oh my God, look at this woman.
Right.
And Russell, I'm with Russell. He can't believe that anyone would be comfortable attacking a woman who just emerged from cancer treatment. And it's a miracle she's survived. And you're going to throw water in her face over a dinner with Captain Sandy on a cruise? Are you fucking kidding me? You have lost the thread, ma'am.
Yeah.
You don't know what
time.
life is about. This is
Big
crazy.
time.
Adriana is going to throw a baby shower for Julia and Martina. And Julia tries to present as this like benevolent, wonderful person who's like, I don't want anyone to feel excluded. So I'm going to go ahead and let Guerdy have an invitation to this baby shower that Adriana is throwing. And she says the words, I don't want anyone feeling left out if I believe the person can be mature enough to control herself and be cordial. And I, again, in all caps, screamed into my notes, you're the one who stood up and threw water in her face. You cannot be trusted to be mature. You do not control yourself. You are not cordial. You don't deserve to go.
Projecting. I mean, oh my God. Pointing the finger when there's 3 pointing back. Julia's not good, dude.
She's irredeemable. Like we're like 2 scenes in and I'm like, oh, I'm done with you forever. You have been written off into the permanent, like fucking Santa's naughty list forever. Ugh. Oh, and then here we go. So Larsa, we meet Stephanie on her private jet as they fly from Miami to Orlando to pick up Stephanie's dogs from her parents. They touch
A 1
down.
hour flight.
Yeah, they touch down on
1
a runway,
hour.
get the dogs off the tarmac, put them on the plane, and head on right on back.
Dude.
Yeah. And the only new piece of information in that little scene is Larsa has a quick FaceTime with Marisol, who shares the news that Alexia and Todd have filed an extension with the courts for their divorce. So they've bought themselves 3 months more to decide if they want to get divorced or not. And Larsa and Marisol decide they're going to take Alexia out for drinks just to get some good girl time with her because she seems drained.
And then Marisol goes over to Lisa's house and she gives her some flowers and offers condolences for the loss of Lisa's father. And in Lisa's confessional, she says what she's learned from this is you need to forgive. You need to forgive your parents if you have any issues with them. Don't let so much time go by. Don't hold grudges because that was a huge mistake. Ugh. And for Lisa Hochstein to get this in her soul, and I have yet to get that in my soul.
But I swear to God, it's just reductive on, it's just minutes past a death. You know what I mean? It's
okay.
like this man kicked her out when she was 16 years old. Or in Lisa's case, she left her own house at 16 because he was such a raging alcoholic. Like,
she thought things were not good. Yeah.
Yeah. You could hold a grudge until you feel safe and have built up your own resources enough to not be affected if this person acts out again in your presence. So I understand where she's coming from, like having just returned from a memorial service, but like this isn't a fair blanket statement. Nobody needs
Okay.
to forgive anybody. And it's not holding a grudge. It's protecting yourself and establishing your own safety before you re-enter a relationship with someone who is unpredictable. I'm projecting, but that's how I
No,
feel.
I think too that I need to feel resourced myself before I can say words like that. Like I need to, how am I trying to explain this? Like, okay, I know what I'm trying to say. I think the difference is that, and I could be wrong, but it seemed like Lisa really had, no, she didn't. Well, okay, I'm not going to speak for Lisa. I'm going to speak for myself. I don't feel 110% confident in my not having expectations. I have moments of it, but is it a baseline, a foundation that I can count on, a foundation of not having expectation? It's getting there. I'm laying bricks. The grout's drying. There's pieces to be put in. But what I'm saying is that I think that's why I can't say something like this yet, is because I still feel like there may be parts of me that still have expectations that he can be the person that I want him to be. And again, I can't confidently look you in the eye and tell you that I could say those things without being dishonest. And so, yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lisa was given like this kind of little pink cloud to send him out on because
Yes.
they'd been separated for so many years. They had a wonderful reunion and he got to meet both of the kids. They had clearly a lovely time together. And before, in my experience, most alcoholics, have a swing in the other direction. Before that could happen, he passed. And I'm so sorry for her for that.
Yes,
But
yes, yes,
my
yes,
experience
yes.
is you get those moments and they're so hopeful. And even I've gone through 50,000 cycles of them and each one is hopeful. And I'm like, yay, maybe this one will stick. No, it's like, it's a, remember Dr. Nicole, right? Who was on this
Yeah.
show? Yeah, like
Yes.
her alcoholic father was a
Yes.
great example of like showing up hours late to lunch, showing up already drunk, showing up with a weird girlfriend, wife, I don't know what the hell, hitting on her friends at her wedding, like ugh. Like that's the whole picture. So he showed up great, but he was gross. And he was inappropriate and he was drunk. He was drunk. He didn't, it's not that he didn't care enough about her to not be drunk. He's an alcoholic with an uncured illness. And so I think Lisa got a glimpse of like the really the bright side of the moon, and he didn't live quite long enough for her to orbit back around to the dark side, So I
You're
hope she
totally
can,
right. You're
yeah.
totally right. Absolutely. I can see that 100%. I can see that 100%. Marisol tells Lisa that she's worried for Alexia. She says Todd is draining her emotionally. That's a big deal, dude. That's a big deal for your friend to say about your relationship. Draining her emotionally. Whew.
I mean, we've seen it. Like he left out of nowhere. She had that huge meltdown at that dinner where she was screaming and then sobbing and all of this. And now she's hiding, obviously. She's doing a very poor job of hiding, being back with him. And later in the episode, she refers to him as her husband, which he is legally still, but like, whoa. Yeah, it's draining me. If it's not draining Alexia, it's draining me.
Word. Agreed. So Alexia arrives to share her condolences. I loved Alexia's outfit so much. I'm guessing it was probably Poochie. Oh my God. The
Which one was
lavender.
this?
It was the
Oh,
pants,
yeah.
the beautiful, like wide
Oh,
leg, like
yeah.
silky satin pants with, I think they had a pretty significant cuff at the bottom. They were just like wide leg. And then the shirt with the same pattern, but it was in a different fabric. And I was like, oh, 10 out of 10 would. I love the fashion on this franchise so much. I love the color. I love the risks. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. No black to be found. Nothing wrong with black. Love the color black in clothes. Love it. but I love a pattern pant like nobody's fucking business. And that outfit just made me happy. It really did.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it. I coveted it. So she shares that she was horrified by the behavior at Marisol's party. And then she fills in Lisa about what Larsa said, her version of events about what happened in Milan with Jody having the big eyes and being combative with Lisa and Larsa. And Lisa claims that Larsa is a liar and a manipulator. Margie, I watched this episode. I watched it twice. I don't know who's telling the truth. It can't be Larsa, right? It can't be Larsa.
Well, I think
But
we
they're
find
both
out,
so narcissistic.
but I think we find out it is Larsa because the very next scene is Larsa FaceTiming Jack, the creative whatever. And Jack said he was there and that Jody was out of control. And even Lisa was telling Jody to calm down and shut up. And this guy says to Larsa, like, he lost it on you. And he goes, and his eyes.
Yeah.
Everyone's fixated on his eyes, and his eyes are crazy. But I do feel like they're kind of always crazy. They were getting a little extra wild in that photo we saw. But he's, you know. Yeah.
Lisa said that she likes him because he reminds her of a Furby.
Good
I would be
Lord.
so pissed. I'd be like, did you just admit on fucking national TV and wherever else this is going to air that I remind you of a Furby? Oh,
My
that's
God.
gross.
I know. Oh my God. But his eyes look like, you know, in like anatomy books or like, what was that touring
God.
exhibition? Like
I know what you're saying.
the body
Yes.
exhibit or whatever. Yeah. When
Yes.
they take all
bodies.
the
Oh my
skin
God.
off,
Yes.
they take all the skin off. So it's just muscles and organs. And that's what Jody's eyes looks like. It's like he has no skin and his eyeballs are just popped into his, you know, muscles. And I don't know.
Yes.
It's very, he has a unique look about him. What are you going to do?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying they weren't enhanced. I mean, there was
think
some
it's
AC.
fair.
I think he had spent some time in an air-conditioned bedroom.
He disappeared for quite some time and then came back with a lot of energized rage. So it feels like there's reason to believe some air conditioning was had. Then we're with Lisa, Marisol, and Alexia. Oh, right. We're just back at, what is this? No, we cut to Larsa's FaceTime with Jack.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And then we're back with Lisa, Marisol, and Alexia. And Lisa's just saying she's pissed that Larsa's focused on anything other than offering her support in the wake of Lisa's dad's death. And as you'll notice in the notes, I kept adding in the word estranged with an exclamation point. I do feel like Lisa's leaning on this a little bit much to get to skirt some other issues. And then Lisa made a very dramatic move, sending a text to Larsa saying, "This is what I'm dealing with a photograph of her dad's dead body in its casket." Like, girl, that I feel like that is like corpse abuse or like, don't do that. And again, it's her estranged father. Don't do that. Yuck.
I mean, on one hand, I hear like the inner Chiron in my brain is like, I don't get to judge how anybody grieves. And at the same time, that feels so manipulative and absolutely not clean. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't feel like a clean thing to do. I could say, you know what? I know we have, at some point, we need to have a conversation. We've got to clear the air about some things. This is not a good time for me right now. I'm in Canada. It's my father's funeral. My brain is all over the place right now. Can we talk when I come home? But to say this is what I'm dealing with right now, and then
send a picture of it, like
a picture of a corpse, right?
Nah.
That is so dirty. It's dirty. It's clean. It's not clean.
You're right, because like Lisa's breakdown in the last scene of this episode, I believed she got drunk and she's consumed with the confusion and overwhelm of losing a parent and the grief that surrounds that. That I believed. This felt like you said, it's not clean. It's
not clean.
Yeah. Mm-mm. And Lisa ironically says, Larsa doesn't give a fuck about anybody but her fucking self. And I'm like,
two peas, one pod.
Yeah, mirror much.
Yeah. God.
And
And we
then
have,
yeah,
you
go
go, you
ahead.
go. No, we have Kiki in the car with her daughter, Summer, who's so adorable, as you say. And she's so adorable. On their way to pick up Kiki's dad from the airport. And last week, Kiki's mom told her to treat him with respect, even though, yeah, he called Kiki a whore for modeling and abused Kiki's mom. And Kiki's mom, this is just generational trauma that I don't like to watch. I don't like to watch. I don't like to hear it. It's very, it's hard for me to not personalize it. It's hard for me to not get stressed out for Summer. It's hard for me to not get stressed out for her son. It's hard for me to not get stressed out thinking about Kiki's dad's other children that we learn about. It's hard for me to not get stressed out about wondering what's going on that I can't see,
Yeah, but Kiki handles it really well. In her confessional, she says her dad kicked her out at age 15 for modeling. And then she didn't see or hear from him for 10 years. And during that time, her family kept urging her to reconnect and to give him a chance. But she took her time and she took 10 years. And these are her words. It took her 10 years to start to try to forgive him. Not 10 years to forgive him and now we're cool. It's like, it's 10 years later and I'm starting to try to forgive him. And she says it's baby steps, and which is clear because he gets in the car and Kiki asks if he'll be staying in the States for a bit. He's visiting from Haiti and he says, no, he's going back because he has a 2-year-old son. And her dad now has 7 children. And Kiki expresses her upset that he keeps having more kids when he still isn't showing up properly as a grandparent to her kids. And, she has to remind him to stay in touch with her son, and he makes no effort. She tells her dad, Shamar, her son is in college now. And she goes, well, you wouldn't know that because you never asked for him. And then this is something I would do and it's inappropriate, but it did make me laugh. Kiki tells her daughter, Summer, hey, you have a 2-year-old uncle. And then Kiki just mutters under her breath, what the fuck?
I mean,
it's insanity. But at a certain point, you're just like, well, this is crazy. So let's just let everyone in on the joke. You want to party with your uncle? He's 2. Like, this is nuts.
Oh my God. Oh God.
Good Lord.
Oh. And then we have the scene with Marisol, Larsa, Julia, and Stephanie. They are gathering to meet Alexia for drinks as planned. And Larsa reports that Stephanie does not like kids. Birkins and boogers don't go together. I guess. Yeah, it's true.
This is what makes her a valuable housewife. Statements like that. And,
Yep.
she has a really clear point of view, and I'm on board.
And then Stephanie arrives and she instantly bonds with Julia. And she says that, oh, my husband loves your wife. Like, aim high, Stephanie's husband, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they're they're both, I don't know, quasi-boomers. Not that there's anything wrong with being a baby boomer. I'm just saying those kind of boomers.
Look, I'm telling you what all that I learned from Jeff Bezos's wedding is that rich people love rich people. They don't care.
That's true.
Like
You're
morality,
right.
value systems, all that out the window. If you're ultra rich, you like other ultra rich people and you want to hang out. So
billionaires love a
Fine.
billionaire. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Ay. So, yeah, Stephanie has her confessional that she met Masood at a Heat game when she was 26 and he was 50, and that the age difference bothered her, and she didn't want to be labeled a gold digger, but she fell in love and went for it. And like you said earlier, she says from an early age she knew she wanted to be filthy rich. And she thought about freezing her eggs, but couldn't find any time in her schedule to do it, so she didn't, because she says that she doesn't even have time to pee. We see that dramatic scene where she's, oh, no, I didn't go to the bathroom yet. Like,
yeah, one of her
okay.
assistants is holding like a clipboard going like, did you go to the bathroom? It's on your schedule. It's like, okay, business. We get it. She's busy. Fine.
Yeah, okay, we get it, right? So she grew up 3 months out of the year on a farm in Colombia, and she stuck her fingers up chicken butts to feel for eggs, and she castrated and ate cow balls. Pass. She's first-generation American, and because of that, there was no option for failure. If one door closes, go find another. I don't know. I get it, I guess. Fuck toxic positivity, but also I don't know.
It's
you
also
know?
just like not her story. You didn't go knocking on doors everywhere. At age 26, you fell in love with an established, ultra rich man. I'm sorry, but it's not the same. You know, I know it's different when you have to make your own money,
Oh,
pound the
yeah,
pavement, and
for
find
sure.
work. You didn't go
Absolutely.
knocking on doors. And I'm not mad at you for that. I just don't like the characterization of like, I'm not saying you don't work hard. I'm just saying what you're presenting here is like, I came here
Rags
with
to
tap shoes and a
riches.
dream. Yeah, no, you
Yes,
didn't.
yes,
You came
yes,
here
yes.
and you found a great way to live a great life, and I'm so happy for you. But like, I don't.
Yeah,
I'm
there's nothing wrong with getting help, like she
you.
says.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had some help. That's what she
you
tells
knocked
Larsa.
on one guy's belt buckle and it opened. So great job.
Lol. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Back at the bar, Stephanie is saying she's very impressed with Julia for adopting these two young children. And she says, it tells me everything I need to know about the kind of person you are. And I don't think it does, but
Yeah.
more will be revealed.
I got the sense that they were kind of like dogs, like kind of checking each other out when they first met. Like, I'm not sure how to feel about you. I don't really know. I got the sense that Julia wasn't really a huge fan, and I felt like Stephanie was like laying it on a little thick, like trying to be familiar pretty quickly, but not more as like a power move versus actually feeling like that. Like she's trying to become really familiar really quickly. And I'm not really sure what her angle is. I don't know. I don't know what
It,
her deal is.
it
I don't
might be
know.
that thing of like, there are some rich and powerful people I've encountered in my life who like everyone to like them. So upon first meeting, they'll do everything to get you to like them. And then they'll decide later if they like you. And it's of no consequence to them if they cut
Oh.
you out of their life. But if you don't like them, that makes them itchy. So they open up really charismatic and lovely and let you come to them and like them. And then later I wouldn't, if I were Julia, I wouldn't feel super secure in this connection. And I think Julia just likes, this woman is loaded. And I think, Julia makes her feel good to be liked by the richest bitch in the group. So great. And Julia invites Stephanie to her baby shower. And Alexia at this point is still a no-show, and Marisol gives her a call on the phone, which she does not answer, but she does immediately text back saying she's in bed with a migraine. And everyone's like, she's in bed with Todd. So, crap.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Oh my God, Margie. It's like I can see the episode in my mind and I just rewatched it and I'm just blanking on fucking everything. I'm
That's
sorry you're
okay.
doing so much of the heavy lifting.
No, I'm happy to.
Please.
We're at the baby shower, and Julia called Adriana to ask her to seat Stephanie, the new girl, next to her. And Adriana, in a lovely moment of pettiness, said, "No, Stephanie can sit across from you. I'm the hostess, and I'm your best friend, and I'm going to sit next to the guest of honor," which I think is fair.
I do too. P.S. Okay, Adriana looks, what, mid-40s? Maybe?
Looks
In my,
mid-40s?
in my opinion, yeah.
Okay.
Adriana,
I
do
feel
you,
like she looks so young. I feel
I
like they
think,
all look great, but
yeah. She's, her IMDb, she's going to be 60 in November of this year. She's going to be 60. She's 59 years old
wow.
as of today. Yeah.
Are you
Like,
sure? Holy crap.
that's what her IMDb says. And if anywhere you're going to lie about your age, it's going to be on fucking IMDb, right?
Unless someone entered it for her, unless like some evil
I
prankster did that.
mean,
But
yeah.
I don't know. That's housewife age, so
I had
maybe
heard
so.
it. I'd heard that she was 60 or near
Look,
60, and I didn't believe it because, I
Kris
mean,
Jenner looks 25, so anything can happen.
now she does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude. Anywho,
So Alexia arrives at the baby shower, and Larsa tells her they missed her last night at drinks. And we're in Alexia's confessional where a producer asks her, "Why did you stay in?" And this is Alexia's answer. "I was not with Todd. I promise you, I was not with Todd. I wasn't with Todd that night. No, I wish I was, but I wasn't with Todd. I was in bed with a migraine." I was like, wow, that's a lot. The producer asked, "Why did you stay in?" And all you said was Todd 10,000 times. So I think you were in bed with Todd. That's what I think. We have this little moment that leads to nothing, but maybe it'll become relevant later in the series. Alexia tells Adriana that Adriana has added to Alexia's stress with Todd because she brought up their financial issues on camera last season. And Alexia claims she doesn't blame Adriana for gossiping or for her gossip causing Todd to leave, but nobody likes lies and gossip about their relationship. So she is blaming Adriana again instead of blaming Todd.
Dude, and don't don't date a housewife like Alexia of all motherfucking people. Todd is so Alexia, they're both exhausting. They're exhausting. It's like she wants to blame everybody but Todd sometimes.
Exactly. She never blames Todd. She had 2 days of blaming Todd, and now it's everyone else. Now it's Adriana's fault for something she said last year. Like, this is nuts.
Right. And if you're Todd and you don't have any financial issues, then what Adriana says, who gives a shit? Adriana has been a shit stirrer ever since she first walked on this set. Not set, but like ever since she became a cast member on Miami, she's been a shit stirrer. Like that is her sole reason. And there's nothing else really, not that there's nothing else. Like, I find her highly entertaining. She's a problematic fave of mine, 100%. And I see her, I don't even necessarily accept her for all of her bullshit. But my point is that like who's giving Adriana any credence for anything? And if Todd was truly a well-adjusted person, yeah, like no one's going to want their dirty laundry aired. Obviously, if he's a businessman or whatever, he's not going to want people out there thinking that he's shady or having problems with his business or whatever. But I don't know, man.
Well, and also it's
don't
like
date Alexia if you don't want all the shit that goes along with dating Alexia, like Peter, for Christ's sake, and her castmates.
But
right?
It's not Alexia's fault. It's Todd. Like people have nothing to hide nothing. If what Adriana said was not true, Todd would be on camera this season. But Adriana said something last season, and Todd has since declined to film and divorced his wife, and
and left the house.
Yeah, I mean,
while
this
she
is
was gone,
bizarre behavior.
100%.
I don't know.
You're right.
Just Alexia trying to justify getting back together with this guy and making his behavior someone else's fault, but it's not. It's Todd. But whatever. Then we have Stephanie arriving, and she's never been to a baby shower before, and she goes, "But it's about babies and happy things and gifts. Nothing could go wrong, right?" Ha ha ha. And this is where I loved her, like, excellent casting, you guys, because she walks into the baby shower, approaches Alexia, and says, "I may be overstepping my boundaries with Todd, but when God takes out the trash, you don't go back into the garbage." I was like, hello.
Shots fired. Holy shit.
From a righteous weapon. She's right.
I mean, she's right, but also like from the jump, you're right. This is Housewives. You're right. You're right.
She's just cutting through all the bullshit and going straight for like, you know what? Your relationship's bullshit. But I also agreed with Alexia. Stephanie says, God takes out the trash. You don't go back into the garbage. And Alexia says, I know, but I have to figure that out on my own.
Dude, this is the third or fourth time that she's figuring this out on her own. She does not want to figure this shit out because she keeps marrying the same man over and over again. She keeps marrying toxic people who don't traffic in things like honesty or accountability or kindness. Alexia's getting something out of these men. She's getting something out of it, clearly. She doesn't want to figure shit out, man. Maybe she does. Maybe I'm a total see you next Tuesday myself for even accusing her of not wanting to figure it out.
All I can say is I've been Alexia plenty of times, and people have said those things to me, and I've absolutely known they're right, and it doesn't matter. It's true.
Yeah,
it's like,
you're
right. Totally right. And I'm not, as my sponsor would say, you're not done till you're done.
You're not done till you're done. You're right.
So everyone was right. I knew it. They knew it. I knew it from the first date with someone who I was with for 7 years. But it's just when you're in these things and it doesn't appear like Alexia has lots of tools or has any interest in doing any work to change.
She does
her
not
fate,
have
so.
interest in tools. She does not want to do no work. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Oh, my God.
Then Lisa arrives and it's awkward between her and Larsa. Guerdy's in New York, so we realize she's not coming to this event. Then Julia arrives and Stephanie runs up to her, and Julia now tells us she's also never been to a baby shower because I guess they're not a thing in Russia or Europe. the baby shower gets underway. Adriana makes a toast. Alexia comes and steals the mic and makes a competing toast. And it truly was the scene from Bridesmaids where Alexia's like, can I say something? And Adriana tries to hold the mic away from her and then relinquishes it. And Alexia's like, we've been friends for 3 years. And then Adriana takes the mic and goes, well, we've been friends for 10 years. And it literally is exactly that scene from Bridesmaids. It was amazing.
Totally.
And stupid. And it comes to a close so we can play the reason I hate baby showers, the diaper game. I've never played, and I don't care. If I'm at your shower, it's because I love you and I'm excited for your baby to come. I'm not going to lick a diaper. I don't care if it's people are like, but it's just a melted Snickers. I don't care. I'm not going to lick a Pamper. It's not fun. I don't think, and it's not going to affect the health or outcome of your baby. Like, don't make me do this. It's fucking gross. And Lisa gags. Stephanie spills like something that is like colored with saffron onto her baby blue Versace outfit. And then God bless Kiki, who just takes a bite. And she's like, as a mom, I have no problem. She identifies every ingredient and she's like, I am unfazed by anything diaper related. So
she's
great.
all lick, spinach, lentils, mustard. I don't know. It was spinach, lentils, and something else. And I was like, oh
she
my
got
God.
it all right and folded up that
hilarious.
diaper and was like, onward. Then we have a dumb game of truth or dare. Who cares? Kiki twerks. Then we sit down to lunch and dessert. And Lisa at this point is now drunk. And she tells Stephanie, slurs to Stephanie, I want to be friends with you because you're rich and you have a yacht and a jet. And Stephanie looks like mortally wounded. And I'm like, Stephanie, honey, I hate to break it to you, but everyone wants to be friends with you because you have a yacht and a jet. You might also be cool and nice, but first things first. And then Lisa, to her credit, notices Stephanie like kind of recoiling. And she asks Adriana, am I talking like I'm drunk? And Adriana's like, yeah, you're talking a little bit like you're drunk. And so Kiki and Lisa take a step away from the table and go to the bathroom to kind of recenter. And this is when Larsa claims she wasn't talking shit about Lisa while Lisa's been in mourning over her father. But technically she was, because she talked about it while Lisa was in Canada because Alexia asked her about what happened in Milan, blah, blah, blah. Lisa returns to the table. Julia asks who told Lisa what Larsa said at Marisol's party. And God bless, again, Kiki is just the most grounded, centered human being in this whole cast. She just goes, Julia, why are you starting this at your own party? So I want everyone to just take note. It is Julia who started this. Like, Lisa was up and away from the table. Julia's the one who put this conversation into play. And then Kiki reveals Guerdy told Lisa what Larsa said. And Lisa says, it doesn't matter who told me. I should know because I wasn't there and you were talking shit behind my back while I was burying my father. And then Lisa claims she doesn't want to make today about herself. And I actually believe her. It looks like one of those moments when the alcohol and the emotional overwhelm came like a tsunami and just got her and she couldn't get control of it. And she got up and weeping and wailing, leaves the restaurant saying, I didn't mean for this to be about me. My dead dad. My dad's dead. My dead dad's dead. So she was just in it. God bless. Poor thing.
I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm just laughing because it's
it's all that is in her consciousnad right now. So as much as she's saying, I don't want this to be about me, literally the only vocabulary words in her brain at the moment are dad, dead, dead, dad. And that's what she keeps saying. Don't you understand? My dad's dead. I have a dead dad. I'm sorry. I need to go. And then she goes.
Oy. Oy. And Adriana blames the table for starting the conversation. And as you wrote in the notes, Julia started this conversation. Mm-hmm. Kiki says, again, who fights at a baby shower? We need God. We need help.
I love her.
I do too. We need God. We need help. That should be the tagline for the whole show. Yeah. Yeah.
For the whole Housewives franchise.
Honestly, you're right. All of them. Yeah.
We need God. We need help.
We need God. We need help.
Stephanie just closes out by saying, "What kind of party is this? I was just asked to have a threesome. One of the girls is crying, leaving, and where's the food?" And I was like, "Ah, we
Welcome.
have a winner." Yes.
Yeah, welcome. I still wish we had Dr. Nicole, but I'm glad she's doing whatever she needs to do to protect her peace, and she is raising her new baby. But I do miss her. I think that she would definitely have value add in this season, particularly. Dude, that was only episode 4.
I
Woo!
mean,
Coming in
yeah,
hot. Coming
indeed.
in hot. Friend, oh, go ahead. No,
Oh, I
you.
was going to ask you the same question. What else did you watch this week? Or could
Uh,
you watch anything as you were?
well, before the stones came for me, the stones in 2 different organs came for me. In Palm Springs, I convinced my friends to watch an episode of Trainwreck, which is the docuseries on Netflix. And we watched the one called Poop Cruise about the cruise ship wow. Anyway. And then on my flight home yesterday, I watched the episode about American Apparel. And it didn't teach me anything I didn't already know, really. And then I also had moments of feeling really guilty watching it on a plane because there was some nudity and there was some crotchal shots in tiny men's briefs. And I was obsessed with that story when it first broke. I had been shopping at American Apparel before they even had stores. They just had the warehouse. And I still have some of my most favorite pieces I own are American Apparel, and they are coming up on being 20 years old, and I'm not going to say I'll never get rid of them, but I love that stuff. I read a memoir, or I don't know if you could call it a memoir, but a woman that used to work for American Apparel before this shit hit the fan. She wrote a book that I found much more fascinating than this documentary, but And in my opinion, again, because American Apparel is it's downtown first, Echo Park second, Los Feliz third, and then everything else kind of like they focused way too much on the New York stores. And I was like, dude, you cannot talk about American Apparel unless you're like doing the entire thing from Los Angeles. Like you just can't. But that is my opinion. And my opinion is not the opinion. It's just
But wasn't it
mine.
made in LA? Like, wasn't
Oh
that their
yeah.
whole thing? Is that
Yeah,
their
they were
warehouses were
on,
in LA,
oh God,
in
what
the
was their
fashion
street called?
district?
Warehouse Drive, right by Alameda. I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, their warehouse was iconic. It was huge. It was a standalone building. No one was doing that at the time. No one was making stuff in America, cute stuff. Like, I remember even seeing the models going like, oh, this ad campaign I'm really into, like I see stretch marks. I see people with dark skin color. I see unfiltered pictures. Like I was a fan from the jump. And some of the best times in my life, I was wearing American Apparel for them. Honestly, there was a shirt that everyone in my family had. So many times in my life, I was outfitted in American Apparel. So it was an interesting documentary. I watched last week's episode of And Just Like That. And then it was, I think I'd started feeling bad a little bit on Saturday when I was in Palm Springs, because I never need to like take time to go inside, but I started feeling off. And my friend Gabi was in the room we were sharing, like resting. And I came in and I was going to rest too. And she's like, what are you going to do? And I said, oh, I'm going to watch an episode of Love Island. And she's like, I'll watch it with you. And Margie, I was like, I physically reacted. I was like, oh, you will? It was like a dog seeing a leash. Like, you're going to watch this with me? Are you serious? Oh my fucking God. And like, I couldn't even believe my fucking luck. And so we plowed through 2 episodes and she was like, I kind of want to know what's going to happen in the next one. And I was like, girl, if there's another one on while we're here, you don't have to ask me twice, man. I was so stoked because I have a handful of friends that watch reality shows. I don't know if everyone watches Love Island that I know who watches reality TV, but I can't put it down. I fucking love it. Like, again, as soon as we're done with this, I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to do some dishes and make myself some dinner, and I'm going to watch tonight's episode of Love Island. So shout out to my friend Gabi for watching some, utter trash of reality television with me. So, and then I watched a lot of episodes of Sex and the City because it's my comfort show and I needed a lot of comfort this week. It's one of my comfort shows. And so I watched all of season 4 and I'm on the burger season now, season 5. And it just felt good to like watch it in the hotel room when I didn't want to get out of the bed and I couldn't go do anything because I felt like shit. And I was like, I'm going to watch some Sex and the City reruns on Netflix. So that's what I watched, friend. How about you?
Love it. I watched some train wreck episodes as well. I did watch the Poop Cruise, which is exactly what you would expect it to be, as you know, the title tells you everything you need to know. And then I watched the Astroworld tragedy one, which was absolutely fucking devastating. So yeah, do not recommend if you don't have an interest in seeing the story of a totally preventable tragedy. And then I watched America's Sweethearts, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders, the new season, and it's spectacular. It's amazing. And I'm a little behind on Next Gen NYC, but I still really, really love that show. And then I didn't watch the whole episode, but I caught the end of The Valley this week, which was Kristen Doute's proposal. And it was actually really sweet. It was just one of those moments where I'm like, I've been watching you guys for like a decade, and here she is getting engaged, and it's really lovely. And I don't know, it was sweet. But that's pretty much my watch list. And what was your antidepressant this week besides morphine drip?
Just to back up and talk about, I cannot watch the Astro World one because I can't watch. I was like, dude, like,
Travis
I feel
Scott
bad
is
for the
dead to me. I don't understand how he is performing anywhere.
Like, parents lost children, people lost friends, siblings lost. How fucking horrifying! I would just be devastated. Oh my God. And then I tried watching Next Gen NYC when I was packing. Now my packing anxiety had me so bad that it was just bad. It wasn't any different packing for this trip because I had to pack for 9 days. I thought I was going away for 9 days, Palm Springs straight to San Diego. Turns out, anyway, I couldn't get into it, man. I wanted to so bad. I'm like, oh, I'll put it on while I'm packing, but it couldn't cut through my anxiety either. That's all I wanted to say. That's it. No one, you know what? I'm sorry. That doesn't add any value at all. But I really wanted to.
Totally fair. Yeah,
maybe under different circumstances, it'll grab me. People love it. I'm in the minority. People love that show. People love it.
I mean, I just find it interesting, again, as like a long-term Bravo watcher, to see Kim Zolciak's daughter and Candy Burris's daughter becoming best friends when their moms remain feuding. It's just like, it's kind of lovely. Like you were talking about generational trauma. It's like, it doesn't have to be. Like these two girls re-met on this show. Both of them were nervous to come and have their first sit down together because they were like, hey, our moms hate each other. And they were like, but we don't. And now they're like best friends. And it's lovely. And like, it's things like that. I don't know. And it's also, again, that stage of life in New York City. It's nostalgic for me. And so I'm always kind of fascinated by that. So anyways.
I do. You know what? Those two did stand out to me.
Yeah.
And they're, when they're introducing themselves, it's like, oh, damn, these people are real.
And they're weirdly, like, in some ways more grown up than their parents.
100.
Certainly.
Yes.
What's her name? Ariana.
Ariana.
Is
it?
I think.
Is it?
Ariel? I don't fucking know. Anyways.
Sorry.
Kim Zolciak's
it's Brielle.
Oh, Brielle. Shit.
Yeah,
oh,
Brielle
God.
is one that has, Brielle is currently blonde. I'm not sure, but I was surprised that Zolciak had a brunette daughter. I was like, oh, shit. I didn't know she had a brunette daughter. Anyway.
I think her daughter is really trying to differentiate from her mother in as many ways as she can.
I would.
But it's interesting. That's what I find fascinating. It's like, again, having watched this network for so long, we're now literally seeing the next generation. The kids that we saw born on this show are now starring in their own reality show. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
What was your antidepressant?
For sure, my annual Palm Springs trip. Absolutely. Like I'm so sad about how it ended. I feel like I was robbed of my last day, and yet having one of my best friends take me to the hospital and be there with me and just be like, I I wish I could take this away from you. And just, that's a good friend that takes you to the ER in the middle of the fucking night, dude, in Palm Springs. Like, that's a good ass friend. And I'm blessed. And I look forward to this trip all year long. And I love it. And we all love it together. And we all acknowledge it the entire time, how happy we all are to be together. So that was my antidepressant. How about you?
Good. By the way, that's a powerful antidepressant if that overrides how it ended, you know?
100%.
Like, that's how rad your friends are. And everyone you named when you were telling stories, I was like, love that person, love that person, love that person, highest quality person, great, incredible
so
group of quality people.
Yes, so quality, so high quality, and just love me thick and thin, high points, low points. You know, what's better than that? We've been friends since we were 15 and 20 respectively, you know? That's a long ass motherfucking time. You don't get luckier than that. You don't get more blessed than that. So 10 out of 10, no notes on those ladies.
No, they're great.
And they love you too, Margaret. They love you.
Love them.
Oh, what was your antidepressant?
My antidepressant was Friends as well. A friend of mine was doing a show. The Fringe Festival just happened. And he had a show in the Fringe Festival. So a couple other friends of mine, we were like, let's go see this show. And so we met up like an hour before the show started and hung out. Then we went to the show, which was an hour. And that's where I thought the day would end. But we were just so happy to be around each other that we're like, let's go hang out after. So we went to this bar after to meet with our friend who'd been in the show. So then we collected him and the four of us went to dinner. And it was like literally an 8-hour day. It was supposed to be a 2-hour afternoon. And it became this like we literally only went home because we all hit the wall and were so tired that we were like, I can't sit upright anymore. It felt like one of those slumber parties when you're a kid, when you don't want to go to sleep, because they're so funny and so creative and so interesting and energizing. And you use the word blessed. And like, I kept thinking that and not in a gross way, like, hashtag blessed, like literally like, this is grace. You know, my sister taught me that one of the definitions of grace is an unearned gift. And I was just sitting there at dinner, starting to fall asleep in my chair because we'd been hanging out for so long. But I was just like, this is a gift. These human beings are a gift. We accidentally fell into each other's lives 20 years ago. And like, what the fuck? We can spend 8 hours together and still like each other. And then we all got home. And then the text thread started. Everyone had gotten showered and into bed. And then it's like, bloop, 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 bloop. Hilarious text messages. Anyways, I'm just really lucky. Like, funny, awesome, honest, available friends. And I love them. So it was a really fun, unexpected day.
I love it. I love
Me
it.
too. Yeah.
Oh, Margie, those are the best days. Those are some of the best times.
They really are.
Yeah.
Like the sun was going down and I was like, I have to let the dog out and I have to go to bed because I'm old and I can't stay up. It was like 9:30 and we were all like, oh God.
Oh my God.
Anyways.
Oh my God.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to tame the stones and take a seat and get through this one tonight. So I love you and I'm glad we could do it.
Me too. Thank you so much for taking notes and for rolling with the punches because I was humbled. I was humbled by these stones. I was humbled. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for rolling with the punches too, as we skipped a week. I hate doing that. And we will be back on our regular schedule next week. I think. I mean, here's
God
hoping.
willing. Listen, who knows? In this
Oh my
moment in
God.
time, that's the plan. So we'll see how
I
it
need
all
God.
shakes out.
I need help.
Yes,
What did Kiki
ma'am.
say?
Yes, we need God. We need help.
Oh my God.
Well,
I
thank
love
you,
you,
everybody.
friend.
I love you too. And thanks everyone for listening.
Yes.
Take good care of yourselves.
Yeah.
Truly.
Take good care of yourselves. Truly. Yeah. Drink your water. Don't get a kidney stone and don't get a gallbladder stone.
Or if
Just-
you do, go to the hospital and get the help you need. Get the
Yes, or
support
if
you
do.
need.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
there's no way that you can't know those things are building. Like when they happen,
No.
they happen. You just
Oh
got to
my
do
God.
exactly what
Never.
you did.
I in a million years, I would never see either of these things coming down my pipeline. you know?
Well, and again, when you reported that this was happening, I immediately read everything I could find. And apparently they build up and sometimes they go your whole life without ever affecting you at all. So even
Yep.
if you were to know they were there, you wouldn't change your plans until they were like, I'm going to ask for your attention now that you're on vacation with your friends. I feel like
Yeah.
this is a good time for me to not be ignored. So you
Oh,
never know.
dude. Yeah.
I'm just glad you got yourself some good medicine and that you have a really hopeful prognosis here. So
A morphine and a Zofran IV cocktail. Yeah, me
I'll
too.
take it.
Me too, man. For
Sounds
sure.
good.
All right, everyone. We'll talk next week. Have a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Be safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.